Good afternoon, everybody. The Committee on Health and Demography is hereby called to order. This hearing is being held jointly with the Committees on Social Justice, Ways and Means, and Finance. Before we start, let me acknowledge the presence of Senators Nancy Binay, Senator Coco Pimentel, Senator Riza Hontiveros. Thank you for joining us today. May we now request the Committee Secretary to acknowledge the resource persons present today. Miss Committee Secretary, kindly.
Good afternoon. We would like to acknowledge the resource persons for this afternoon's hearing. From the Department of Health, Secretary Francisco T. Duque, Yusek Lilibeth David, Yusek Mario Villaverde. From the Office of the Presidential Assistant for the Visayas, Assistant Secretary Anthony Gerard Gonzalez. From DSWD, Artemio Bautista. From PhilHealth, Dr. Israel Pargas, Senior Vice President. From PAGCOR, James Patrick Bondoc, and Attorney Lawrence Emmanuel Solis. From PCSO, Dr. Larry Cedro, Assistant General Manager for Charity. Attorney Gay Albor. Ramon Ike Sinieres, Member Board of Directors. Mario Balite, Member Board of Directors. From the DND, Dr. Dominador Chong Jr., Director, Veterans Memorial Medical Center. From UPPGH, Dr. Gerardo Legaspi. From Lung Center of the Philippines, Dr. Vicente Balanag Jr. From Pasay City General Hospital, Dr. Marilu Lupisan Ocampo. From the Bataan General Hospital and Medical Center, Dr. Glory Baltazar. From the Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center, Dr. Gerardo Aquino. And from DOH Region 7, Dr. Jaime Bernadas. From the League of Provinces, Angelica Sanchez. From the League of Cities, April Devian Mosquera. Dr. Clemencia Bondoc, President of the Association of Municipal Health Officers in the Philippines. From the Philippine Cancer Society, Dr. Rachel Rosario. From the Philippine Alliance of Patient Organizations, Fatima Lorenzo. And from the DBM, we have Mark James Evangelista and Assistant Director Maria Lourdes Aganon. Thank you.
Thank you, Committee Secretary. Now, allow me to give brief opening remarks. With the enactment of Republic Act 11223 or the Universal Healthcare Act in February this year, every Filipino citizen can now avail of the National Health Insurance Program. Now, as we anticipate the changes UHC will bring to issues patient access to individual healthcare, the challenge remains on how we can close the gap between the indigent, marginalized families, and those who can afford basic and specialty medical services. The benefits under the Universal Healthcare rely on health benefits package as determined by the PhilHealth. As such, out-of-pocket expenditures may still arise if the benefit packages are not enough to cover the medical needs of indigent and poor patients. In 2017, despite the safety nets of PhilHealth, out-of-pocket payment accounted for 55% of health expenditures according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. This situation is very depressing. It is not uncommon for us to see patients knocking on the doors of various government agencies to request for financial assistance to cover medical expenses. Dahil walang isang opisina kung saan maaring dumunog ng tulong ang ating mga kababayan, kailangan pa nilang pumila ng pagkakahaba-haba sa ibang ehensya ng gobyerno. Pera po nila ito, hindi po sila dapat nagmamakaawa para sa serbisyo ng gobyerno. It is for this reason that the Duterte administration started establishing Malasakit Centers in various government hospitals all over the country. These Malasakit Centers serve as one-stop shops where Filipinos can seek financial and medical assistance provided by various government agencies. With this, Filipinos no longer have to endure long lines in different agencies to avail assistance. Currently, there are 41 successfully established and fully operational Malasakit centers across the country, 18 of which are DOH-run hospitals. To ensure continuity of this program even beyond the Duterte administration, we are pushing to institutionalize Malasakit centers through Senate Bill number 199 or the Malasakit Center Act of 2019. If enacted into law, the government will be able to provide additional personnel in each Malasakit centers. Prior to this meeting, I have met with the heads of government agencies involved in the operation of these Malasakit centers, including Secretary Duque, including Secretary Avisado of the Department of Budget and Management, including the PhilHealth officials, including Secretary Rolando Bautista of the DSWD, and other government agencies which are very active in these Malasakit centers. We have determined that it is more feasible if we only mandate the establishment of Malasakit centers in all DOH-run hospitals. In these Malasakit centers, the concerned government agencies retain and run their own medical assistance programs. I hope with this measure we can further streamline and expedite the delivery of medical services to Filipinos, especially to those who need them most. I call on my fellow legislators and workers in government to support this measure so we can give back to the people the service they deserve. Para ito sa lahat ng poor at indigent patients, walang pinipili, non-partisan, walang halong pamumulitika po ito. Ibigay natin sa Pilipino ang mabilis, maayos at maasahang serbisyo, lalo na po pagdating sa pangangailangan ng pangkalusugan. Maraming salamat po. May I now ask my fellow senator. Let me add lang po ganito po yun. Itong Malasakit Center, kung paano ko po ito medyo napag-isipan nung unang panahon. Kasi po sa Davao City nung unang mayor pa po si Mayor Duterte, ang dami pong pumipila sa City Hall. Sobrang haba ng linya, minsan nasa labas na siya nag-opisina. At meron pong humihingi ng tulong medical na hindi po taga Davao. At sinasabi po ng mga taga COA, bawal po yan dahil pera po ng taga Davao yan, hindi pwedeng i-assist po sa, usually taga Surigao, taga Bukidnon po ipila. At doon po narinig ko si then Mayor Duterte, sabi niya sa akin, kung hindi ko man lang matulungan ng aking kapwa Pilipino, hindi na ako upo dito bukas, hindi ko matiis. So nung naging pangulo siya, sabi ko, ano bang pwede nating gawing serbisyo na wag natin na pahirapan ang ating mga kababayan. So doon ko po naisipan na maglagay doon sa Cebu, sa Vicente Soto Medical Center, na ilagay natin one-stop shop po. Kung noong unang panahon, pipila pa po sila sa PhilHealth, DOH, DSWD, at PCSO, ubos yung panahon nila, ubos pa yung pamasahe sa kakapila, isang araw, isang ahensya. Pila sila dito, Monday hanggang Thursday, ubos yung panahon nila. So sabi ko, ano bang pwede nating gawin na mapagkaisa po nila? Sa ngayon, meron na tayong 41 Malasakit centers through the instruction of President Duterte. Kaya lang po, gusto natin to institutionalize para po hindi na siya, kahit hindi na po siya presidente, ay tuloy-tuloy po itong programang to. At ayaw po namin to haluan ng politika. Basta Pilipino ka, qualified ka, hindi na po kailangan ng ID. Wala pong dapat na, basta nangangailangan po ng tulong. Kaya nga sinasabi ko parati during opening, sabi ko, pera nyo po ito, binabalik po sa inyo at wala pong pipiliin na pasyente kung sinong hihingi po ng tulong dito. And also dyan sa PGH po, good afternoon Dr. Gerardo Legaspi. Maalala ko po, nung 2016 or 17, inutusan po ako ni Pangulong Duterte when I was still SAP niya, yung secretary niya po, ay pinakausap niya po ako sa inyo at nakikita niya napakahaba po ng pila dyan sa PGH na humihingi po ng tulong. So sabi niya, magbibigay po siya ng pondo na replenishable naman po na pondo. Pag naubos ay dadagdagan niya po. Lalong-lalo niya po, ang laki ng tiwala niya sa hospital ninyo na napakarami pong mga doctors, maraming espesyalista na yung gustong tumulong po dyan sa hospital. At nagkaroon rin po tayo ng Malasakit Center dyan. Ibang kaso naman po itong sa Malasakit Center dyan sa PGH. Meron silang, para maintindihan po ng kararamihan, yung Malasakit Center sa PGH, it's a one-stop shop po. Nandiyan na po yung PhilHealth, PCSO, DOH at DSWD. Ambag-ambag po sila ng tulong. Halimbawa, 67,000 yung bill. Lalapit sila sa Malasakit Center, tutulong ng tigta 10,000 each po yung apat na ahensya. And then may balance pa po na 27,000 yung pasyente. Kung noon, bubunot sila, ngayon po dahil meron pong iniwan na, separate case po ito yung sa PGH. May iniwan pong pondo si Pangulong Duterte sa PGH. So yung balanse ay isu-shoulder po nung pondong iniwan ni Pangulong Duterte. At kahit sino po ang pwedeng mag-avail nun, wala pong pinipili, hindi po si Pangulong Duterte o kahit sino man sa amin ang mag-determine po ng tulong. Binigay na po sa PGH yung pondo at sila na po ang magdidetermine kung sino po ang kanilang tutulungan na nangangailangan po ng assistance. Yan po ang nangyayari rin po sa iba't ibang malasakit centers all over the country. Ito pong explain ko lang po. Meron na tayong 18 DOH run hospitals. Ito po yung under sa kay Secretary Duque. At meron pong 23 na malasakit centers na sila po ang nag-initiate. Ito po yung mga provincial at city hospitals. Kaya gusto po natin gawin po itong institutionalize po ito. Ang plano po natin dito ay uunahin muna na based on our meeting nung nakaraan with the department secretaries and department heads, ay uunahin po muna natin kasi ayaw ko po na lagyan muna ng pondo since by this time mahirapan na po tayo maghanap ng pondo para lagyan po yung Malasakit Center. So magiging mangyari nito, one-stop shop lang po talaga siya at wala siyang pondong ilalagay muna dito sa bahala na pagdating ng panahon kung kailangan siya lagyan ng pondo at kung may pera na po tayo, saka natin amendahan yung batas o paglalagyan natin. So ngayon, wala pong involved na pondo dito sa Malasakit Center. We just need the cooperation of the 4 government agencies po itong PCSO, PhilHealth, DOH at DSWD. Meron rin pong kaya lang po we have to set criteria dito sa mga LGUs na kailangan po nila maglagay po ng mga opisina at meron po silang pasilidad na paglalagyan po nung kwarto, opisina, nandiyan na po yung lamesa ng DOH, DSWD, PhilHealth at PCSO. Anyway, masyado nang mahaba yung aking opening remarks. May I now ask my fellow senators if they have any opening remarks. Wala. Alright, let us now proceed with the discussions. Due to our limited time and to give all resource persons a chance to speak, we will only allow 5 minutes per resource person. At any time, members of the committee will be allowed to clarify statements made by the resource persons. To start off, and give us an overview of existing Malasakit centers, let us hear from ASEC Anthony Gonzalez of the Office of the Presidential Assistant to the Visayas. For the information of everyone, the first Malasakit Center was established in Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center with the help of Secretary Mike Dino. Sila po yung sa ngayon, while hindi pa po na-institutionalize ang Malasakit Centers, ang Office of the President represented by Secretary Mike Dino, sila po yung naging in charge po ng Malasakit Centers all over the country. Go ahead, ASEC Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair, Senator Christopher Bongo, and senators of different senators, Senator Antiveros, Senator Binay, and Senator Pimentel, and the rest of the body. Our Office of the Presidential Assistant for the Visayas, has been designated to do the nationwide rollout of the Malasakit Center in the country. And as of now, there's already 41, as mentioned by Senator Bongo. And the issues that we are facing as we roll out the Malasakit Center nationwide is the lack of personnel in each Malasakit Center, particularly PCSO, PhilHealth, DOH, and DSWD. While we are trying to attempt to streamline the process and make the agencies stay under one roof, there is unfortunately lack of personnel in some Malasakit Center, and that is what we hope the bill can do when it is being institutionalized, so that all agencies involved in the Malasakit Center will be manned. And the other thing that we also want to
Mr. Chair,
yes,
can I ask lang si Mr. Gonzalez, since you mentioned the staffing requirements, may idea na ho ba kayo if we institutionalize Malasakit Centers, ano ho yung magiging staffing requirements na?
well, important is each agency has to have at least one personnel in the center. So there's 4 agencies needed in the center. There's PCSO, PhilHealth, DOH, DSWD, and Malasakit Center staff. And so we need at least 5 per center. Yes, a minimum of 5 per center.
Go ahead, Senator Risa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Follow up sa tanong ni Senator Nancy, I was going to ask about the PhilHealth cares and about the DOH and DSWD personnel in hospitals. Pero since ASEC, binanggit nyo na yung lack of personnel, I'm wondering, since under the proposed bill, for example, PhilHealth representatives will be manning the Malasakit Center. So I'm assuming that these will be the PCares given their mandate to increase availment and to ensure compliance to NBB if applicable. Likewise, ASEC, itatanong ko sana on the DOH and DSWD personnel in the hospitals. I was going to ask if currently does DOH have people in each of the hospitals, and what additional roles can these DOH personnel deployed to hospitals play? And in the same manner for DSWD, what additional roles can these DSWD people in hospitals play in relation sa Malasakit Center? So maybe, Mr. Chair, not necessary masagot lahat ni ASEC, but just to put it on record for the 3 other agencies, kung pwedeng, kung may response din kayo about what your existing agency personnel in these hospitals, what additional roles they could play in relation to itong issue ng lack of personnel for the Malasakit Centers, what roles they could play in the centers. Salamat, Mr. Chair.
Let me answer, Senator Risa. Based on our previous meetings with the department heads, no, they committed to provide one personnel in each DOH run hospitals. That will be 70 DOH run hospitals. Since we cannot ask them on all LGUs and provincial hospitals, that is why our priority right now is the DOH run hospitals, and then we will set criterias on the establishment of Malasakit Center, especially dun po sa mga LGUs na gusto pong maglagay ng mga malasakit centers. Kasi po sa ngayon, napakarami pong gustong maglagay. Sabi nila, pwede kaming maglagay ng malasakit centers dito. Kaya nga po kailangan nating institutionalize ito to set criteria para hindi po basta-basta lang sila maglagay, and then babatikusin naman tayo ang gobyerno na bakit wala pong mga personnel po ng PhilHealth, kulang yung ganito dito. That is why we need the commitments po from department head offices na maglalagay po sila dun sa 70. And then, pag magdadagdag na po tayo sa mga provincial hospitals at city hospitals, we will need their commitment and approval na po kung sa dadagdagan nila. And then yung mga governors at mayors, kung gusto nilang maglagay po ng malasakit center sa mga lugar nila, sila po ang magpo-provide ng mga job orders o mga empleyado at maglalagay po ng opisina doon sa mga malasakit centers na LGU run po. Hindi po ito yung mga DOH run hospital. For example po, Senator Risa, Senator Nancy, and Senator Coco, napag-usapan po ito ni Senator Win Gatchalian, itong public assistance office center natin sa baba ay sa sobrang haba po ng pila at humingi po ng tulong sa atin, sa inyo, sa inyong lahat. Pipila po sila dyan. Hindi po nanggaling sa akin itong proposal na ito. Galing po ito kay Senator Win with the approval of Senator Soto, Senator Migs, and with your support also. Lalagyan daw nila ng malasakit center din po dyan sa baba. Sabi ko, kung ano pong gusto ninyo ng mga fellow senators, ako naman kakausapin ko lang naman po yung mga department head na maglagay rin po sila ng personnel dyan. So after ng assistance ng 4 na ehensya, kung sakaling lumapit po sa inyo, yun na po yung balanse na bibigyan ninyo ng tulong dyan po sa propose natin na malasakit center sa baba ng Senado. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Senator
Siguro just to add dun sa staffing requirements, maybe we can ask from PCSO, PAGCOR, kung ibig sabihin mo ba nito, kailangan natin karoon ng additional plantilla position for you to accommodate additional staffing requirements for the Malasakit Center. Sige, Dr.
Go ahead, Dr.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. From the PCSO, regarding the question on the capacity of the agency to provide manpower, briefly, Your Honors, the participation of the PCSO in the Malasakit Center is anchored on our internally developed program, which is the ASAP, or the Outsource and Processing, wherein the operational process for the delivery of services is being coursed through the social services staff of the partner hospital. We do not deploy our personnel. But with regard to the position of the body, the same will be discussed before our board. Yes, Your Honor, there is really a need. Should we deploy our people, there is really a need for us to review, number one, the organizational structure, and number two, if there is really a need for us to hire additional personnel through JO mechanism, we will do that. But currently, since 2012, Madam, Your Honors, the ASAP is being run through our social services partners. Thank
You
you.
mean to say, dun sa mga existing na Malasakit centers, walang PCSO representative?
None, Your Honor.
None at the moment.
The
Not even
ASAP po
one.
is being coursed through the social services. No PCSO personnel, ma'am.
So siguro, Asek Gonzales, yung mga existing Malasakit centers nyo, ano yung existing na personnel doon? Because PCSO wala pala.
Senator Binay, to be specific, PCSO as of now we have 41 malasakit centers, pero 23 lang ang merong personnel from PCSO. Sa PhilHealth complete, DOH may 9 na kulang, and DSWD 29. So it's not that walang personnel in every Malasakit Center.
Parang nag-no si
Nagulat nga ako dun sa
Manager.
Dr. Larry, merong mga PCSO po dun sa mga malasakit centers niya, 23, no?
Yes,
Nagkaroon po tayo ng
Mr. Chair.
anyway, based dun sa napag-usapan namin nung nakaraan, yung public assistance unit po ng DOH. So lahat ng 70 DOH run hospitals, meron kayong public assistance unit. Tama po. So yun po ang existing.
Meron
Even
po kami,
before the Malasakit Center, meron na ho kayong gano'n?
institutionalized na po yung public assistance unit ng DOH and also our social welfare services to screen patients who will truly be deserving of the support. These are already in place, Your Honors and Mr. Chairman.
Ang plano pong let me add, Senator Risa. Itong public assistance unit po, ang plano natin gawin, based on our discussion the last time, ay dadagdagan po ng personnel, and the Department of Budget and Management committed to add plantilla personnel dito sa public assistance unit para po to man the malasakit centers ng DOH run the hospital. So wala tayong, siya na po yung parang magiging manager ng malasakit center po, yung personnel na idadagdag po dun sa public assistance unit ng DOH. Go ahead, Senator Risa.
Thank you, Chair. So I guess yung line of questioning ko rin is in line with what the Chair has just mentioned. Yung existing personnel deployed nung 4 or 3 na agencies, if they could play additional roles in relation sa centers. For one note, sa staff ng PCSO, since under the Universal Healthcare Law, PCSO is supposed to contribute its funds to PhilHealth DOH, then maaring additional PCSO staff may not be necessary in the centers. Pero, kaya ako tinatanong ko po kanina, Mr. Chair, yung PhilHealth Cares, yung DOH at saka DSWD personnel in hospitals, kasi nakikita ko may potential na sila yung gumanap ng additional roles in the centers. I wanted to ask, for example, can we give additional assignment to the PCares to include anti-fraud activities, halimbawa, as part of the centers? Yung DOH, itatanong ko po sana, meron bang mga NDP nurses na assigned sa mga hospitals who are doing administrative functions as of now, but since DOH staff sila nasa Malasakit Center na, baka we could use that opportunity to strengthen the links between DOH and these hospitals, lalo na sa kaso ng mga LGU hospitals, kung dun sa mga governors at mayors na magsiset up ng centers. Maybe we could, just for consideration ng komite and responsible resource persons, baka we could ask these DOH personnel to perform health promotion and public health advocacy activities sa mga ospital. And of course, last but not the least, DSWD, tatanong ko rin, what additional roles could these DSWD people in the hospitals play? Baka halimbawa, pwede silang mag-data gathering, mag-engage dun sa mga poor and indigent patients na sa serbisyohan ng center. So, these are some of my questions. Mr. Chair, follow-up kay ASEC Gonzales on the issue of lack of personnel. Given existing personnel nung at least yung 3 ahensyang yon who are already at the hospitals where the centers are or will be set up, na baka they could play additional roles in the center. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
ASEC
Madam
Gonzales.
Senator, actually, while I'm not very familiar with kung anong pwedeng additional role gaganapin ng mga different agencies, but if you look at the operations of the Malasakit Center, each personnel of each agency will already have his hands full during the whole day kasi they are addressing about 200 patients, even more, every day, and each patient pinapasa nila to each agency, so they have to talk to at least 100 people every day. and then assessing kung ano yung mabibigay na tulong nila per agency.
Anyway, to DOH, may we hear your position.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, Your Honors. The DOH would like to express its profound appreciation the spirit and rationale of the proposed legislation, which seek to make health services responsive and accessible to the indigent, poor, and vulnerable patients. Longer waiting times, uncoordinated medical and financial assistance for those in need, inefficient processing of documents, and lack of personnel to facilitate government agency requirements. These are common challenges faced by the government hospitals that hinder the immediate provision of quality health services as well as excellent patient experience. And now with the passage of the Republic Act number 11224, otherwise known as the Universal Healthcare Act, expectations have been set high for the DOH, including the PHIC or PhilHealth, to be able to provide free benefits for the poor, indigent, and vulnerable patients on responsive, available, and accessible health services. Now, to complement the implementation of RA number 11223, public hospitals need to establish a program that addresses the above-mentioned challenges, those that affect people's perception on responsiveness of public hospitals. This program should be called Malasakit Program to align itself with the Filipinos' collective aspiration embodied in Ambition Natin 2040 and the People's General Directive in affecting change that would be genuinely felt by our people. The Malasakit program should operate on two levels. First, to address the hospital's own needs to transform its conduct of service towards malasakit, enhancing the caring and responsive environment. And second, to establish a facility within the hospital system where the poor, indigent, and vulnerable will be able to access all of the government's benefits on health. The second is necessarily the Malasakit Center, a frontline service of the program which serves as the hospital's one-stop shop for financial assistance, including assistance provided by DSWD and medical assistance for poor, indigent, and vulnerable patients not covered by the PhilHealth reimbursements. B. Patient navigation and referral to the healthcare provider networks. And C. Provide information with regard to membership, coverage, and benefit packages in the National Health Insurance Program. So this is our position, Your Honors and Mr. Chairman. Yes, we are indeed
For the
very staunchly indeed
Are-
for.
Are you in favor of the
in
Malasakit?
favor of the yes, very staunchly, Your Honors and Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Secretary Duque. All right. Next is PhilHealth. Your position.
Good afternoon, Your Honors. Currently, PhilHealth is present in all the Malasakit centers. When this was first introduced in Vicente Soto and later on with other hospitals, the DOH also came out with an administrative order for that. And so PhilHealth actually put two people or two PCares representative in all Malasakit centers. So there's always a presence. The above cited proposed legislation primarily seeks to institutionalize the Malasakit Center in the Philippines, wherein particularly the indigent patients do not have to go to different agencies to ask for help in paying for their hospital bills. PhilHealth's position, we interpose no objection on the intention of the said bill, and we fully support the intent of the bill. However, of course, on the part of PhilHealth, this social legislation is not part currently of the National Health Insurance Program and would need additional function and mandate to PhilHealth. But again, as I've said, we are already performing this also as we have placed representatives into that. In addition, it should be consistent and should be complementing with the Universal Health Care Act. And given that PCSO and PAGCOR will transfer funds to PHIC, The roles in providing assistance for health services should also be re-examined. The lead office we propose in the hospital should be the hospital providers themselves, because they are actually the service giving providers. And lastly, well, if this will be a law, then the time should be given more for the writing of the IRR. So that's our position. And again, as I've said, we fully support the intent of the bill.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Senator Nancy.
Secretary Duque. Secretary, may study na ho ba kayo doon sa magiging funding requirement ng establishment of Malasakit Centers? Kasi diba, alam niyo naman ho dito, funding is always a problem.
Senator Nancy, let me answer. Based on our discussion with the 4 government agencies yung last week, and also with the Congresswoman Helen, wala munang funds na involved dito. It will be a one-stop shop lang muna. At sa ngayon, so wala talagang magiging pondong ilalagay dito sa
Mr. Chair,
Malasakit.
for example, yung pagpapasweldo lang doon sa magmamando ng Malasakit
Yun po ang
would already entail some cost to the other agencies.
yun po yung kinausap namin si Secretary Abisado ng DBM na magdadagdag po ng pondo dun sa Public Assistance Unit, and para magiging ano na siya, Malasakit program, para po sila yung magmaman ng mga Malasakit centers dun sa 70 DOH run hospitals.
And how much is that?
Yan pa po ang dapat naming pag-uusapan sa technical working group, kung ilang personnel ang kailangan nila at ang pondo pong ilalaan doon sa personnel na ilalagay po, na idadagdag nila sa mga Malasakit centers.
Siguro nga maganda, Mr. Chair, habang tinatalakay natin yung budget, kung pwede nang mag-produce ng computation yung iba't ibang ahensya. Kasi baka ngayon pa lang, during the budget deliberation, madadagdag na natin yung additional cost nung personnel na yun, di ba? Kasi hindi rin naman ganun liit yung magagastos dun sa mga personnel requirements.
Pwede,
I wonder
Secretary
kung
Duque.
na-input nyo na to dun sa proposed budget nyo for 2020.
Yes, Mr. Chair, honorable senators, we haven't discussed this with DBM yet, but our initial computations are that if we would increase the recipients to 1 million from Malasakit, we would need an additional 5 billion for the direct assistance. And for establishing this in all the DOH hospitals, it will require 500 million for the additional personnel and 1.5 billion for the infrastructure.
500 million for the personnel, 5 billion for,
the direct medical assistance.
and then for the infra.
The infrastructure is 1.5 billion.
And for 2020's budget, hindi niya pa ito hinihingi.
This has not yet been included in the 2020 budget.
And do you have plans of parang requesting additional funds just to roll out this project for next year?
Secretary Duque, di ba sa ngayon hindi pa kailangan ng pondo dun sa Malasakit Center? Only the personnel and the infrastructure, yung opisina mismo.
I think, Mr. Chair, pag naging institutionalized na yung Malasakit Center, this would be the cost, more or less. Tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor, it's going to be the annual operating cost. But during the first year of, during the first year of the UHC implementation, we can make do with just piggybacking the system that PhilHealth utilizes. And I think it will be cost effective if we just, ideally, the UHC's contemplation was to consolidate all sources of funding. And
Secretary, with universal healthcare, all funding, i-collapse nyo na into one fund.
that
And the ideal situation is, pag ako si pasyente, hindi na ako pupuntang PCSO, hindi na ako pupuntang PAGCOR, hindi na ako pupuntang DSWD, kasi nga, because of universal healthcare.
well, ma'am, meron din pong mga ibang costs incurred like transportation costs. Yun po yung papel ng DSWD o yung kanilang burial cost kung namatay yung pasyente. So marami pa hong mga ibang peripheral expenditures not covered by PhilHealth. But by and large, the ideal scenario would have been that, well, I think this is the only option left for all of us to implement the Malasakit Center is, number one, we will piggyback the existing system that PhilHealth uses with the PhilHealth Cares. And PhilHealth has already institutionalized the claims processing turnaround time, which is for good claims, ibig sabihin malinis po yung claims, 16 days. And for crude claims, which means there are bits and pieces of deficiencies in those claims, would take about 21 days. So we have actually made some breakthroughs in terms of turnaround time and efficiency gains, no? Given what PhilHealth has just showed me before this meeting began. So, yung pong staffing pattern to cover all other expenditures, peripheral expenditures like burial, food, transportation, we can probably work on that, but not immediately. Or by phasing na lang po ang gagawin natin dahil nga meron po tayong limitation sa funding. Kung wala po sanang limitation sa funding, what would be ideal is to really come up with a staffing pattern for each Malasakit Center, which means you will have a complement of PhilHealth employee or the PhilHealth Cares, which, by the way, the nature of their employment is via job order or casual, which is really not nice. This is something that the administration frowns upon.
Magkano ho ba sweldo nyo dun sa job order?
Basic salary po is around 16,758.
Tapos wala silang PhilHealth, wala silang pag-ibig,
we-
wala silang SSS.
Yes. Kung job order po.
I mean, GSIS pala.
Kung job order, Mr. Chair, order po yes. Pero kung casual po,
Go ahead, Senator Risa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, good to hear po from DOH kung in some kind of transition na nagra-ramp up ng full implementation ng universal healthcare, tapos sinusubukan talagang i-rationalize yung pag-source ng mga poor and indigent patients ng mga assistance, for example, through these centers, na hindi full cost kaagad. Pero gusto ko itanong, Mr. Chair, yung isa pang usapin ng kaperahan on the no balance billing implementation in relation po sa centers. According to PhilHealth po kasi, NBB compliance is around 85% of all NBB facilities, meaning 85% of the availment of NBB eligible PhilHealth beneficiaries have been done without out-of-pocket expenditure. So parang golden mean natin. If this is correct, actually po good development ito kasi if I remember correctly, this percentage was 63% in 2016, then 72% in 2017. What drove this improvement in NBB availment to 85% now?
well, for one, we have deployed our PCares in the hospitals, and actually they are the ones monitoring the implementation of the no balance billing policy, ma'am. And so what we do is the patients are actually subjected to exit surveys. So every time that the patient, especially the indigent or eligible NBB patients, are discharged, our PCares are actually doing the exit surveys. And part of the process after the exit survey is to report to every hospital chief the results of the policy with regard to the implementation of the no balance billing.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah. Well, anyway, ma'am, I think that it's time for us to redefine the NBB in the light of complement complementation of funding coming from PCSO PAGCOR. So is the no balance billing policy, does it mean that absolutely patient doesn't have to have any out of pocket or no co-payments, no? But it can be a bit confusing because now that health says I'll pay up to this point, no? But now you have secondary, tertiary funding. So is that still yes, from the perspective of the patient, it is absolutely NBB. But from the perspective of other institutions or agencies paying or doing top up beyond the PhilHealth reimbursement, I think this will need to redefine what this new balance billing really is. Because I think it has morphed somehow. Kasi marami ng pagkukuhanan eh. So, in other words, are we efficiently using the resources, even if in the face of additional funding sources, but are we not at the same time contributing to medical inflation unwittingly? That's just a thought that you might want to look into, Your Honors.
I guess, Mr. Chair, in the meantime na umabot na rin sa 85% yung NBB availment, pero ibig sabihin, may 15% na hindi pa nakaka-avail of at kahit papano, at least 15% na may out-of-pocket expenses pa. And as the good secretary said, syempre, sa mga pasyente o sa mga PhilHealth members, best pa rin yung walang out-of-pocket expenses, nakaka-avail of ng NBB. And I think yung isang nakikita natin sa bill is a possibility na by facilitating yung access dun sa secondary, tertiary source of funds, yung overall na outcome for the patient's family is ganun na nga, no balance billing. So noted naman yung warning nyo about medical inflation. Pero just one step back to the current situation, on the other side of the situation na dinidescribe ni Dr. Ish, currently, under the current system, what drives non-compliance to NBB? Inisip ko halimbawa, saang level ng hospital madalas nangyayari yung out-of-pocket expenditure at anong dahilan? Bakit di nakakapag-NBB ang mga pasyente? Anong component ng expense ang dahilan kung ba't di sila nakakapag-implement? Gamot ba? Labs ba? Yung transportation ba? Or in the worst case scenario, yung burial expenses ba? So ano po yung drivers ng non-compliance?
Largely, Your Honors, ang drivers po ng non-compliance pagdating po sa mga catastrophic illnesses like those supposedly covered by the PhilHealth Z benefit package, whose implementation is really very limited. Not only because the capacity of many hospitals is not sufficient. We need to build that capacity for more Z benefit packages, which are really catastrophic. And that is why the no balance billing policy cannot be enforced 100%, Your Honor. That's why doon po talaga nakakatulong ngayon yung mga PCSO, PAGCOR, but we have to be a bit more strict in funneling those secondary sources of funds to really cases which are truly catastrophic and not just cases which are really the Me Too, ordinary, non-catastrophic cases. Otherwise, I believe that one of the philosophical underpinnings of the Malasakit Center is really to be able to identify who among those patients who go to the hospitals really deserve, the full support. Kasi otherwise, ang problema nga ho, prior to the Malasakit Center era, yung mga pasyente pupunta sa iba-ibang mga, with all due respect to the patients, iba po, dalawa pong bagay ito Yung isa, pupunta kung saan-saan para humingi ng karagdagan ayuda. Pero ang problema ho, hindi natin ma-monitor. There is no administrative capability to be able to track down whether patient X already asked more than what is needed. That is one. Number two, well, hopefully, they really ask what they need. But the thing is, in terms of accountability, you never really get to know how many times he has asked for the same item to be covered. Second is, of course, the difficulty of the patient per se going to different government agencies, and that will incur a lot of costs relative to the capacity of the poor patient. No? So dalawa po yan, yung administrative problem of poor monitoring and accountability, and then the other one is the patient's extreme difficulty in having to access all these possible sources of funding.
Uh, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Senator Risa.
just to answer lang po, part of our report on the Malasakit Center is the client's concern normally includes the non-availability of medicines and supplies. So yun po yung most of the reasons kung bakit hindi sila agad nakakakuha ng 100% no balance bill.
So with these drivers ng non-NBB compliance, medicines at saka supplies. So just from the purely health financing point of view, na yun naman yung main mission ng PhilHealth at yung isang nakikita ng bill na pwedeng sagutin ng centers, hindi ba just be a bit bold here, hindi ba considered na failure ng case rates o ng NBB policy yun if other sources of funding like PCSO, like PAGCOR, ay kailangan pang gamitin para bayaran yung health services? Kasi diba ideally we want health insurance, social health insurance to be enough para mag-provide ng financial risk protection.
That's why we are doing, ma'am, actually right now, the costing of all healthcare services in order for us to make sure that the reimbursement rate or the payment mechanism or the payment that we will provide as part of the insurance would actually approximate the needed reimbursement or payment for such services. So ngayon po ang PhilHealth ay and the board actually has approved the costing framework and tool, and we are doing that right now, including the training, to make sure that the inputs for coming out with the reimbursement are actually inputs from costing coming from the providers. So hopefully po, and this is part of the process that we are doing right now, especially when the UHC comes in, and it's part of the review of the case rates.
Siguro last question na lang, Mr. Chair, tungkol dito sa NBB implementation in relation sa malasakit. Kasi para kung maayos natin yung tamang costing under the NBB, of the, kunyari, sa case rates, para ma-achieve yung NBB, although alam naman natin nung oversight committee, sabi nyo, you are studying a different costing mechanism, yung DRG. Pero kung alin man yung ginagamit ng PhilHealth, kapag ma-achieve natin yung optimal level ng NBB, pero meron pang ibang out-of-pocket expenses na kailangang i-cover, baka doon rationally yung centers ay pwedeng mag-step in and fill up the gap. So yung last question ko po, during the Blue Ribbon hearings, ni-raise doon na merong nangyayaring overpayment tsaka mas malaking underpayment because of the case rate policy. Tama po ba ito? Kasi kung tama ito, concern ito dahil yung supposed underpayment due to case rates, ito po yung napapass on sa patients. Ito yung nagiging out-of-pocket expenses. But with the UHC law, and as potentially complemented by the Malasakit Center bill, more funds have been made available to PhilHealth to enhance the benefit payment to reduce the out-of-pocket expenses. So how soon could PhilHealth implement this to a level na minimal na yung underpayment in terms of benefit at saka minimal din yung out-of-pocket expenses? How soon po?
The UHC law, RA 1122, Mr. Chair, the UHC law 1122.3 right now actually provides for such mechanism po. Because the law even provides now that there should be no co-payment in basic or ward accommodation. And that particular provision also expanded the no balance billing not only to those who are covered right now, which are the indigents, but rather to all Filipinos or all members. Because dun po sa batas, wala na rin siyang binanggit na qualification. Tapos dun din po sa batas ay in basic or ward accommodation na lang yung inilagay, hindi na rin po siya nalimitahan to the government facilities lang. And so even the law provides that the private should also give a no co-payment policy. So yun po yung ating wini-work on ngayon as part of the guidelines. And together with that, yun nga po, to come out with a correct or proper costing so that we can approximate dun sa part na yun. Pero tama po kayo, Senator, na because nadudo na yun sa batas, then technically, yung pong mga matutulungan pa, especially ng Malasakit Center or any other government agencies, would be on top of those which are not being provided with a no co-payment or no balance billing in ward accommodation.
Can I just add to the comments? First and foremost, one of the immediate deliverables under the UHC is to institutionalize the 1090 for private facilities. Yung pong 10% of their bed capacity should be for ward or basic accommodation na wala talagang balance billing. Okay? No balance billing policies there. Pero yung 90% na sa kanila mga private hospitals, it is not the intention of PhilHealth to pay for whatever PhilHealth caps are in paying certain services, because it will be it will consume or lead to the premature hemorrhaging of the system if we allow that. Dapat yung may kayang magbayad, babayaran din ng PhilHealth. So that is not the intent of the law. And then, of course, for the public sector, for the public hospitals, talagang ma-implement natin yung 100% no balance billing for 90% of its bed capacity. Because in the public sector, public hospitals, baliktad. 10% private, 90% basic or ward accommodation. Where I think the challenge will not be too difficult. In light of the Malasakit Center, we can immediately achieve a 100% NBB policy. And then, of course, the third more difficult situation here is the highly specialized Apex medical centers, where by law, it is the ratio is 70-30. Right now, operationally, the super specialty medical centers only provide 30% to ward and basic accommodation, and 70% is really to accommodate private patients. But in the law, baliktad na yon. 70 na mangyayari sa mga mahihirap, ward accommodation or basic accommodation, and then 30 na lang po doon sa private. So, ito po yung mga immediate deliverables, but subject to computation, because the Apex hospitals are always saying it will not sustain their operations if we will immediately implement the 70-30 reverse for the Apex medical centers.
Thank you, Secretary Duque. May we now proceed to DSWD, who is Yusek Luz Biminda, Ilagan of Davao, and Gabriela. Not anymore. Taga Davao po ito. Yusek and teacher po ito, si ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon to the committee members and to all the other guests. Let me take this opportunity for DSWD to express its appreciation of how the Malasakit is being done in certain pilot areas. It has been a great help to DSWD that most of our clients are now able to go to a center instead of having to go to the different regional offices to get their assistance. We do have a regular program to assist the elderly, the sick, the indigent. But if we have the Malasakit in the premises of the government hospital and under the auspices of the DOH, then the clients, the patients do not have to travel all over the place just seeking assistance. They know where to go. So as far as the DSWD is concerned, we implement our regular program of assistance, but this time to the patients or the clients who are already using the Malasakit Center as their venue for getting the help.
Go ahead, Senator Nancy.
Doon ho sa mga malasakit centers nyo, ano hong cash assistance yung pinoprovide nyo?
Iba-iba po iyon kasi we have social workers who assess, no? So they do not just identify, they assess the need of the patient. So based on the documents, yung gamot na kailangan, based on kung ano na yung nagastos nila doon sa hospital, yun na po ang binibigay ng, kumbaga, ina-identify na yung amount na kailangan ng pasyente. Kaya paiba-iba po yun, Your Honor.
So, kadalasan ho, medical pa din.
Medical, pag nandun na sila sa malasakit, kasi nandun sila sa hospital, they are
Kasi
patients.
may sinasabi ho si Sec Duque kanina, para I think yung mga burial assistance, food,
Po. Kasali din po yun if there is need for that. But
Food,
usually,
trans-
food,
transport.
transportation, and then other forms, so pagbili ng gamot, o kaya kung ano pa yung pangangailangan nila. But most often, if it is in the Malasakit Center, it would be medical kasi nandun na sila sa tabi ng hospital. Other needs could be provided by the regional office or the local office of the DSWD, pero iba-iba nga po yung pangangailangan nila.
Doon ho sa Malasakit Center, you release cash or check as a form of assistance. Doon yun na rin ho ginagawa.
Na rin po, that's why as of this time, we realize the need, no, for additional personnel. Kasi wala naman kasi siya sa regular program namin noon. Meron naman talagang natatalaga doon sa center. Pero with the volume of people now who go to the centers, then we are hard-pressed, no, to provide the staff na tatanggalin namin siya sa kanyang usual trabaho sa regional office para makatulong doon sa Malasakit.
So at the moment ho, job order din yung nakalagay sa mga Malasakit centers.
Yes, but they have to possess certain qualifications. They cannot just be any ordinary person hired by the FO, the field office. It has to be a social worker because the social worker would know how to assess the case that is being presented by the client.
So parang medyo
SWO.
underpaid yung ano nyo.
Well,
Kung job order lang at 16,000 pesos and then social worker.
ang social worker po, ang ano niya, ang salary grade is 32,752. Yan po.
And nag-request na ho ba kayo for next year's budget? Kung magdadagdag tayo kung maglalagay na talaga kayo ng social worker dun sa mga existing na Malasakit centers, included na ho ba yan for your 2020 budget?
We have a proposal which is now in the office of our secretary, and we are asking for 41 positions to be deployed in the different Malasakit centers. But as of now, we do not have that number because we are working on a budget which did not include the consideration of putting up institutionalized Malasakit centers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Binay. May we now proceed to next, DBM. Which DBM? Assistant Director Aragon. May we now, Secretary Avisado has committed that DBM will support and fund the needed personnel for the Malasakit centers to be established in all DOH hospitals. Can we put into the record the official position of the department, please?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Your Honors. On the part of DBM, like you said, we support the establishment of the Malasakit Center. However, we have some points that we hope the body would consider. First is yung creation po ng office. We support the creation of a Malasakit office in the DOH. Kaya lang po, instead of having we suggest that you create a director for SG28 position instead of the proposed Malasakit National Director position, and to be appointed by the President, just to be consistent with civil service and rules. And then also, yung pong org structure and staffing pattern, it should also be forwarded by DOH to DBM. So it should be para po maging consistent lang with organizational and staffing standards. Pero overall po, we really support the bill.
Thank you from DBM. And may we now proceed to LG. May we move to the DLG. Do you agree hindi muna natin i-include dito ang LGU hospitals? Where's the DILG? Leagues of Cities. Saan po? Ay, ma'am, kasi ang plano natin ngayon, naunahin muna natin ang mga DOH run. But on LGU, provincial hospitals and sa city hospitals run by LGU ng mga hospitals, ito, mas marami to. So, we will set a criteria para hindi na po basta-basta maglagay lang kaagad ng, lagyan natin ng malasakit dito. Kaya lang, walang commitment, wala namang tao, walang job order, walang magmaman, walang facilities, walang building, walang lamesa, wala lahat. So that's why we have to set a criteria. Do you agree with that? Yeah. Sige po, you may say your...
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm from the League of Cities, and actually we appreciate the bill kasi, as mentioned by the previous resource persons, the primary beneficiaries naman talaga are the LGUs and our constituents. We fully support the bill po, and as mentioned by the chair earlier, that since optional lang siya for the LGUs and we have yet to set criteria, we also agree to that po kasi our initial comments would be, and actually clarification, if we say that the LGU has the option to establish a Malasakit Center and the DOH-run Malasakit Centers have staff from the national agencies. Kung yung LGU maglalagay din ng mga tao nila, how would be paano po yung process ng coordination with the national agencies? So, we agree po with the chair that for now, optional muna yung LGUs and we have to study further po. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Salamat. Can we please... Senator Coco, thank you. Is recognized.
For my education, I want to ask the DOH and the PhilHealth. Under the Universal Health Care Act, mawawala na ba itong mga request na dinadala sa DSWD na pambili ng gamot? Kasi nakita ko sa structure ng bill ni Senator Bongo, there are two kinds of assistance, medical and the financial. Ang nakikita ko sa bill is, ang DSWD is in charge of financial, which should be non-medical. But when you approach DSWD for gamot, is that non-medical? That's medical. So, for those who are experts in the universal healthcare, mawawala po ba itong burden ngayon sa pasyente na maghanap ng gamot or sagutin ang cost ng gamot?
Under the UHC, Your Honor, dapat mawala na po yun. Para hindi na po nila mandato magbigay ng voucher for drugs and medicines. Kasi kung hayaan po natin mangyari yan, ay ganoon na naman. Balik tayo sa dating problema na pupunta yung pasyenteng kawawa na hindi kayang mamasahe ay para lang abutin yung mga benepisyo mula sa DSWD. And under the Universal Healthcare Law, which is really going for integration of funding sources, pag-isahin na lang para may unified command and then better program administration, better accountability, rather than, the administrative nightmare.
That is the desire, but were we able to capture that in the law?
I think it's been captured in the law.
Okay, so ganun
Yes,
So, when that law is being implemented, tapos kung tatanungin natin ng DSWD ang mga requests of the people asking for support sa DSWD, dapat mawawala na yung request for gamot kung tama ang implementation ng universal healthcare. Tama?
Tama po kayo.
Okay, so sige, we will give it time to to be implemented properly. Pero dapat mapansin natin 'yon.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Pero ang reminder ko lang po, Your Honor, is that sana yung 2 billion ng DSWD ilipat na lang for the meds o para for better program administration.
May I recognize Senator Bato de la Rosa You want to say something?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for the record, I would like to manifest my full support to this uh, Malasakit Center dahil alam niyo po, nakikita ko ito ngayon, napakalaki pong impact nito sa buhay ng mga ordinaryong tao. Magkwento lang ako ha, kahit kunti lang, Mr. Chairman. Yung maliit pa ako, dalawa ng kapatid ko namatay at a very early age dahil nga walang pambili ng gamot yung aking parents. Ang isa namatay 3 years old, ang isa namatay 10 years old. Kuha lang, simpleng sakit lang yun. Kung may Malasakit Center na sana noon, sigurado ko buhay pa yung dalawa kong kapatid. Pero wala kayong pambili talaga ng gamot eh. So nakita ko ngayon, mga tao, ang daming masaya dahil dito. So, for the record, Mr. Chairman, suportado ko po itong, full support ako dito sa Malasakit Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Bato de la Rosa. Due to lack of time, may we request everyone to just submit your position papers. We will also invite you to our TWG to further refine our bill. At maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Go ahead, Chairman. Sa Maniego. Okay. See you.
Pasensya na po, ako'y narito ngayon para sa Philippine Coalition of Consumer Welfare. Ngayon po, ito pong Malasakit Center na inumpisahan nyo, ito po ang talagang hinahanap ng mga tao. Yung one-stop shop na tinatawag. Ang Presidente Duterte po, pumirma po ng 4 na batas, Universal Healthcare, Integrated Control for Cancer, and National Senior Commission. Matagal na rin po ako nagtrabaho sa Malacanang. Alam ko kung saan pumupunta yung pondo. Okay. Kagandaan ho nito, very unique, hindi na kailangan ng Certificate of Indigent. Kasi po, malaking bagay po yung mga pasyente, umuutang sila para pumunta sa PCSO, pumunta sa PAGCOR, pumunta sa Presidente, pumunta sa DSWD, pupunta po sa politiko. Kaya sadya pong napakaganda. Ngayon po, kung timeline nito mapapabilis at mapoponduhan, Senator Go, ito po yung kailangan. Kaya lang po, basically, may problema dyan. Okay, natas po kanina yung LGU. Sa experience ho namin, hindi ho gagalaw ang LGU para gumasto sila ng pondo para pondohan yan. Not unless ma-requestan ng Presidente. Kasi they have own buffer eh. Yan ho yung reality. We have intelligence, we have social fund. Okay. Ang iniiwasan ho natin, kaya maganda itong Malasakit Center, replication. Meron ho tayo sa Office of the President na Presidential Action Center. May PMS na social fund. Tatakbo po sa PCSO. Tatakbo sa PAGCOR. Tatakbo sa DOH. Ngayon po, yung paggagawa po ng IRR is another issue. Pinagkakaguluhan ho. Dahil minamadali after the law was signed. 90 days. 2001 po, umattend na ako rito, ang sinasabi namin, habaan po yung 90 to 120 days. Pinag-uusapan po natin Malasakit, na brought up ni Secretary, tama naman po siya, universal healthcare, na ginagawa po ngayon, na kailangan maiayos po. Okay, nalilito po ang mga tao, narinig ko rin na nabanggit niya, kailangan lang yung consistent na ipaalam sa tao na impormasyon. Marami pong naiinggit, nakikita po ito sa social media, consistent naman po kayo dyan. Consistent po kayo na nakikita lang kayo. Ngayon, gamitin po natin cost-effective, Senator Go, yung radio TV program ng gobyerno muna. Huwag na tayong mga harap dun sa ABS, but they have their own public service pa rin. Ngayon, kung mautak po ang pasyente, Senator Go, pupunta po yan sa mga politiko. Pupunta po yan uli sa PCSO. Pupunta po uli yan sa PAGCOR. hindi po natin na monitor kung magkano